Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Optimizing Dell's Digital Business with Business Service Insights. A couple of reminders before we begin. This session is being recorded and will be sent out via email as a follow-up. We will also be answering questions live throughout this session, so don't hesitate to submit your questions through the Q&A section panel at any time. As required by our legal department, this is our forward-looking statement, which basically states that you should make your buying decision based on what Splunk offers today and not anything that we talk about in relation to our future roadmap. And with that, I will pass it on to our speakers.
Hello, this is Tanuj Arcot. I'm a Site Reliability and Observability Architect for Dell.com. Throughout my career, I've been a software engineer, turned into an SRE now. Joined Dell in 2015. Extensive experience in building highly reliable, noise-free observability solutions. Now focusing more on self-healing automation and orchestration. I've been a regular speaker at Dell EMC webinars, Splunk conferences, and other Gartner events representing Dell EMC.
And my name is Tim Hossel. I've got broad experience, everything from nuclear reactor plant operations and supervision to software development to what I'm doing now, which is lead architect and strategist for Dell IT's Splunk deployments. I've been leading this team since 2015 when it was formed, and our focus right now is establishing a center of excellence for Splunk here at Dell EMC.
Okay. So let's look at the agenda for today's session. So since I am from the SRE org, just wanted to briefly touch upon SRE and also how we use kind of Splunk IDSI for our Black Friday, Cyber Monday holiday events. We'll also dig deeper into how we empower our business partners with some real insightful data. We'll also have a quick overview of our SRE mobile app. And then we'll lead it into our good glimpse into our phantom IT automation and orchestration. And then we'll also kind of put everything together and look at the Splunk infrastructure that we deal with. So what is SRE? So SRE means a lot of things for a lot of teams. It started off with Google, as everybody knows, right? But for us, it means very simple things like viewing operational tasks with an engineering mindset. So as simple as that. So how do you look at operations if an engineer were to do these things? So that is the basic philosophy that we go about doing our business. And our primary objectives from site reliability engineering has been to increase observability throughout our ecosystems for both IT as well as business partners and stakeholders. Our focus has mainly been reducing mean time to find issues and mean time to resolve them. So our journey into Black Friday happened in 2016 when kind of we started using heavily Splunk. And we quickly understood that we wanted to have a complete bird's eye view into the entire ecosystem to kind of paint where our problems lie and to quickly respond to those particular problems. So we identified key areas in our ecosystem, mainly being VM infrastructure, where the core applications reside on these VM ESX hosts, which are widely scattered in different data centers. We wanted to have visibility into them, and there was no easy way to kind of visualize all of this together. So that's when we, in 2017, introduced ITSI and basically went about creating services for each of these ESX hosts. Each of these ESX hosts reside in a server farm, and each of these set of server farms resides in a particular pod, what we call. And each pod reside in a data center or a rack or however topologies y'all are familiar with. So on Black Friday, imagine that I want to kind of see the end-to-end view of the entire ecosystem, all applications together, and how is my hardware behaving. This is the glass table that we go through. So that is not enough, right? So the underlying hardware is covered, but what about our databases, which are key critical components for us? So databases, be it whether it's SQL Server, it is MongoDB or Oracle or Cassandra or Neo4j and Elastic, all these different database technologies we have in store. And basically, we want to have an end-to-end view of each one of them. And during Black Friday or Cyber Monday events, we want to have a keen eye and ear to all the events that are happening for each of these databases. So databases do have crippling effects on the ecosystem, ripple effects in several cases. All our applications depend on them, ultimately affecting our customer performance. After the database, of course, we will have the ecosystem of our services. So like any other e-commerce site, we are also kind of have a deep mesh of basically services connected to other services, which are, again, dependent on other services. So the dependency tree is at least 10 to 15 levels deep. So it is very, very important to kind of have a visual view of how things are connected or interconnected with each other, and need to know what happens if a service which is greatly dependent upon outperforms. So basically, outperforming in the negative way, and it will have kind of ripple effects in the entire ecosystem. So we need to identify those issues quite early in its stage so that we mitigate the issues before it becomes major problems. So with the advent of these bird's eye view glass tables itself, which are projected on our iTalk, that is our IT command center, where we have around like 20 to 25 large TV sets where all of these different ITSI glass tables are mounted. And you should see the charm around the entire iTalk, where a lot of people are moving around, watching these things day in and out during those days of activities, pointing at issues, quickly reacting to issues, and basically reducing the mean time to resolve and find issues. Now, this is our ecosystem, but when it comes to the e-commerce performance itself, how do our customers interact with us? Our customers interact with using web pages and things like that. So for a standard user interaction to our site, we group them into like 24 different page types. And those individual boxes that you see are for 24 different pages that our customers interact. So starting from our homepage all the way to the thank you page, where your customer is coming here and kind of submitting their order, right? So the last 5 pages, which are cart, shipping, payments, review, and thank you, fall under a checkout funnel, basically. So they are considered to be the most critical pages in the entire life cycle of the e-commerce application. So what you're seeing now is an incident that has happened in the past, where we had some sort of degradation in a particular service, dependent service, and our thank you page is kind of affected. What that means is basically customers are not able to complete their purchase, and we are not able to submit their orders, and our satisfaction for our customers is decreasing. So how do we kind of measure this, right? So this is from an IT perspective or a developer perspective that something has happened. But what is the effect of this on business? So that is where this comes in. So in order to answer that question, basically what we did is kind of brought in a lot of business critical metrics like conversion. We brought in sales, margin, customer satisfaction index, and things like that to kind of measure it alongside with our IT metrics. So these are all business metrics also, which are going in for into ITSI. So what you have here is the funnels for both US and Canada side by side for two of our segments, which is for our consumer segment, which we call it as for home, and also our small business segment, which we call it as for work. So as you can see, the data is there. We brought in the data. Now, how do you use this particular data to kind of analyze what is the cause and effect? Now, that is where we come into the tool called Deep Dive in ITSI. So what you have is for that particular incident, at a specific time, maybe 8:20 a.m., what has happened is there is a significant rise in a 5xx errors and rise in basically application errors. And you can see that rise happened at 8:20, and then you start to see the customer orders flatline after that. So that there are no new orders after that point, or very few trickling orders at that point. What are the other implications that you can see? The TTI, which we call a page measurement, page speed, you can call it, or it's also called time to interact, right? So you can see there is a climb or a significant bump in the page response times. Usually it takes 2.5 to 3 seconds for the typical page to load, and it starts to take 10 seconds to load certain pages. We also see the visits of our site taper off. We also see customer satisfaction index go down. So now you can see side by side in the same time slice what is happening, the cause, which is the 5xx and the application errors, and the effect, which is the TTI, the visits, the service health score, the customer orders, and CSAT going down. So this is a classic example why we need to have both these data sets together in one place, and ITSI puts it together in a very well-mannered view over here. Now, if I want to kind of jump into some of the other aspects that we do for Black Friday, specifically with respect to business metrics, I would like to quickly share some of our views, basically, into business metrics. What we earlier saw were some business metrics that we kind of pushed it outside of Splunk and to marry it with other metadata. So, for example, what you have here is consumer metrics and the same funnel and some of the sales from today. This is some of it is hidden right now, but you can also see a payment mix or the visits mix. How many folks are coming from desktop, coming and purchasing on our site? How many folks are coming through mobile or tablet? And you also have a quick glance into what are our customers talking about and how are they rating us, basically. So you can see these are real-time comments that are coming in. So imagine the case where you have Black Friday happening. Now, everything is fast-moving, and you need to kind of watch out for things which are falling apart. And sometimes customer feedback is so important to kind of correct your course, basically. And this is a very good tool to understand what are our customer pain points and remediate quickly and change course or direction either for our products that we sell or challenges that our customers are facing in real time. So what you have here is the US. Similarly, we have for several other countries built out. So you can see this is for Canada, and so you have the same view for other countries. So it is a quick view into different countries, and which we are able to do it simply with a change of a simple URL, right? But how is this data being presented? Like, where is it coming from? 100% of the data that is now shown over here is coming from Splunk. So we index a lot of this data. The business teams have approached us to say, hey, we want to collect all this particular information, but we have to go into several different tools to kind of view all these things together. Now, we approached it differently. We brought all those different data sets together, married it together, and basically brought it in one screen. Now, going back to our presentation, what I showed, initially the views were in ITSI, right? So in 2018, when we started introducing this, there was a huge influx of users who joined, who became users of Splunk. Our executives also wanted to join, but it was becoming more and more like more cumbersome to kind of have your executives fill out a form and to kind of show the same data to them. So instead, we pulled the data from Splunk and created our own UI experience for it. Now, mind you, the same KPIs that we are using for the glass tables are powering this. So that means I'm not adding new saved searches or adding new queries to pump this data. So the same queries are powering this. So you are massively reusing the same work we are doing it in ITSI, right? Other than this, there are specific holiday sales events dashboards that we built specifically for business again. This is more tailored towards the event itself, which is Black Friday. So during Black Friday, the way that, like any other e-commerce site operates, you have some doorbusters, you have some standing offers, and then you have the rest of the site, which are products which are neither a doorbuster nor a standing offer. So the business wants to kind of see how are we doing in a time-based manner for each doorbuster. So this is a design markup where you can kind of see the blue line is the start of a doorbuster. So when that doorbuster starts, what are the different offers that are on place? How many are sold? What is the total margin? And what is the total percentage with respect to whether doorbusters are outperforming the rest of the site or whether standing offers are outperforming, all that. Plus, we can kind of segregate within a system versus a S&P item, like software and peripherals items or like something like a keyboard, mouse, or things like that. Down below is how we kind of manage each of these doorbusters. So each doorbuster name would be shown here. What is the price? How many are sold? What are the coupons? How many were redeemed? What is the total percentage sold? And then revenue margin, last sold, when was it? When was it actually launched, right? And plus, all this particular data was never available to our businesses before. If they had to go get this kind of data, they would either go to 4 or 5 different tools, get that data at a much delayed pace, like sometimes they would get it an hour later, or in some cases 4 hours later, and in some cases the next day, right? So the way we were operating all these years was different. So the question was again asked, can we kind of bring all these different data sources together, kind of build a real-time story about all these things? So for a simple example, I can take a particular product, where let's say it has 100 units to be sold. In prior years, what was happening was, as soon as 100 units were sold, it was marked as sold off and nobody can even go to that particular page or add to it, right? But what might have happened behind the scenes is those orders might have been canceled within the first 30 minutes or 15 minutes or 5 minutes, or they were identified as fraudulent orders, or they might have gone into some credit card holds. Bank is not catering to this particular request. So things like that, they do happen. So what happens is you think that you sold out on some stuff, but later, within few minutes, you realize that it is not sold, and has to be put back into the stock for it to be again sold on the site. If you don't have real-time data for this, you cannot achieve that. So as simple as that, with bringing all this data, indexing it from Splunk, creating base searches in Splunk, and pushing it out for businesses to consume this data brought a lot of value to sell something really with its full potential, right? So this is a simple example of how we kind of merge the business metrics with what we have been doing for SRE in general, bringing value to our business stakeholders. Same thing, you can see available standing offers, and then you have sold out doorbusters also. So you kind of show what is already sold. You can also, after it is sold, you can kind of see, hey, somebody is canceling all of them. Then you again put it back into the stock. And you also get a view into upcoming doorbusters. So all of this, it is a combination of Splunk and CSV files which are uploaded into Splunk for all these doorbusters, when is the launch times and things like that. So it is a quite powerful experience that we could give to our business for Black Friday, making it a big success throughout. Now, to add to that, right, so basically we want to bring the data closer to our partners, closer to our stakeholders as much as possible. The sooner they have the data, the sooner they can do decision making. So in a bid to do that, we kind of went into the journey of bringing all the metrics, whatever you saw in ITSI, into our mobile app. So we custom built this mobile app in 2018, much before the Splunk mobile app went in, right? So what we have is the numbers of what you see are nothing but ITSI scores, health scores. So you can drill deeper into them, and you can see, again, it's broken down into what you want. Are you more focused on your IT stakeholder? You will go into IT metrics. You can kind of see HTTP status of all our different countries. And basically by page type, you can see what are the 5xx or stability numbers. Or you can kind of look at the page speeds that are across all the countries. So in a quick view, but underneath, all of this is powered by Splunk, basically. Everything of what you see is a base search, and it is a saved search that is powering all this data. So the value of doing it once, exposing it to ITSI, and then exposing the same data set to different UI experiences is really, it speaks volumes about how we are kind of reducing the concurrency on Splunk itself, utilizing Splunk the way that it should be utilized, in the sense that we are able to leverage the same data sets because people are looking for the same data, but bringing them in a much powerful and condensed view, aggregated view, and which is quick and fast and precise, right? So same thing, if I look at the business metrics, the same views that we saw for sales and conversion are available here, and for all countries. So we are bringing parity to whatever we do on the desktop. We bring it to the mobile view as well. And then we have the same metrics that we see on our desktop and ITSI into our mobile view. And then we have other metrics. We can read through all our customer feedback that they are giving in real time in multiple languages. And we also have the ability to kind of see what is other business metrics that we have, coupon redemptions, what are the top selling S&P products, what are the top selling configuration products, negative margin products, and all of that readily available for our businesses to kind of make decision making easier, right? So that is a big win for us and for our business. So jumping back to our next section, I'll leave that to Tim to continue.
And thank you, Tanuj. This is a diagram of our current infrastructure, but when we started with Splunk back in 2015, we started like a lot of you with just a few servers. We had 2 indexing servers and 1 everything else server, search head, deployment server, monitoring console. So it did everything that we needed. No clustering for search heads, no clustering for indexers. Today, we have a much broader deployment with an indexer cluster spanning multiple data centers for disaster recovery and high availability. This is designed to support 5,000, well, it's designed to support more than 5,000 gigabytes per day. That's our current ingestion with 400 terabytes of storage, and that's to keep a retention as much as 18 months. Now, the long retentions are only for summarized data and summary indexes. We also have a couple of search head clusters. Following Splunk's advice, we've separated ITSI into a dedicated search head cluster. Our core cluster is 10 servers, and we have about 150, usually close to 150, sometimes as much as 250 concurrent searches running from that cluster. Now, when we introduced ITSI, we introduced it in a separate cluster, and we actually saw our then concurrent search rate of about 300 concurrent searches drop all the way down to around 120 to 150 because of ITSI. We gained a lot of search concurrency efficiency. ITSI did a lot of the work that dozens of other people were doing on their own with their own searches. So it was great for actually shrinking our footprint for search capacity. So with over 4,000 users, and usually 50 to 100 of them online at any given time, we've got a fairly good-sized deployment of service for our search head clusters. Now, being Tier 1, we also have redundancy in all of our supporting servers, deployment servers, license masters, monitoring console, deployers, cluster masters, and we're putting our deployment servers behind a load balancer so we have automatic failover on that.
Thanks for joining our webinar with Dell today, and thanks again to our speakers. If you would like more information on Business Service Insights with Splunk, please refer to our additional resources available in your panel or visit splunk.com for further success stories from our customers.
Thank you all for joining us today. We'll be open for any questions after this. Thank you.
Thank you.